Good evening and welcome to session number 3 of the Better Husband, our weekly Zoom group with our participants from all over the world, all over the United States, Canada, Europe, and Israel. And I want to review with you the 3 steps that comprise the system that I'm suggesting we can take upon ourselves, we can learn, absorb, become this system so that we can become a better husband. I think that it's bigger and wider than just being a husband. It's also being an employee. It's also being a father. It's also being a Eved Hashem, a servant of God. But in all aspects of our lives, if we have these 3 dimensions of self in alignment, mind, heart, actions, we are going to be able to be aligned with ourselves. We are going to be whole, shalem. We're not going to lose it. We're going to be wholesome, and then we're going to be in a state where we can believe in yourself. So this alignment is being you. Be you by believing in yourself. You can believe in yourself when you are your true self. When you be you, when you act like your true self, your highest self, and your mind, seichel, your soul, and your heart, your emotions, and your actions are aligned, then you can be a lean, green fighting machine. You can be a focused individual, and at that time, you bring all of your kochos, all of your strengths to every situation, as a husband, as a father, as an employee, as a driver when you get cut off on the highway, as a person who's late for shul and you don't lose it, or a fellow employee who disses you. Whatever happens, a person in shul doesn't say hello to you, whatever, if you're aligned, you will not make a mistake. You're less likely to make a mistake because your alignment is aligned with God. Hashem gives you your intellect, your social, your seichel, your neshama. It applies in the emotional sphere. It applies in the behavioral sphere. Cognitive, emotional, behavioral. So the first 2 sessions dealt with step 1, which is the wheel of strengths. Step 2 last week was the soul state, the emotional state. And I'm suggesting that when we go to our beautiful place, and it takes 5 seconds to get there, and they go to Ein Gedi, you may go to Niagara Falls, you may go to Natural Bridges. What's it called? You may go to Hawaii, you may go to the Kotel, you may go to the Galil, Rosh Hanikra, whatever, the beach. That opens the door, that emotional calm, the emotional peace you feel, opens the door to the soul, opens the door to a soul experience where you get access to your higher self. So your mind, you know that you have strengths. You know you have a circle of strengths. Mind, social skills, character, amidos, spirituality, contribution to family, and personal growth. You know it consciously. Your seichel knows it. But when you are being challenged by an irate wife that you didn't come home from work on time, and she burned the dinner, and the kids are going nuts, and the dog is shedding all over the place, and your mother-in-law's coming for Shabbos, and it's Thursday night, and she's losing it, instead of you doing what I usually do, is escalate and say, yeah, well, I'm working for the family, okay? And I work hard for this family. And if I'm not here on time, it's because I'm doing something that I'm not dilly-dallying myself. I'm not going to the batting cages. I'm not drinking with the boys. I'm working for this family. So stop complaining. And she says, yeah, well, you can go work for the family, and I ain't being here, man. I'm out of here. And then you escalate out of control, right? It's because we answer back. And she answers back. Boom. Sound familiar? Maybe? Could be, right? So I'm saying, don't answer back. Yeah, right. Don't answer back. Right. How do you do that? Press my buttons, don't answer back. How? I know my strengths. I know that I am a giving, loving, compassionate father and husband. But when she's pressing my buttons, baby, I can't access that. I can't access that wheel of strength because in the moment, I'm going nuts. My emotions, my ego is too hurt. Being accused of being a bad husband and an inattentive person and irresponsible. Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah? So I put in a place where I have to defend myself and I escalate. However, if I go to my beautiful place, at will, 5 seconds, go to Grand Bridges, go to Hawaii, go to the Miami Beach, go to Ein Gedi. And Ein Gedi represents me. The reason why I feel calm there is because that is my soul intuiting itself in nature. I'm inspired by that place, the beach, because water represents my flowing, giving self. That's what water means. If I go to a mountain, let's say a strong, beautiful overlooking mountain, that represents my creative, powerful, dynamic leadership self. But when I'm attacked by my wife, or overwhelmed by kids, or pressured at work, I disconnect from me. I disconnect from myself. So while I know that I have these strengths, I can't access them in the moment because my ego is too hurt. So I have to train myself to access this and this emotional self. By going 1 second, hold it. Wife's angry, wife's losing it. Ein Gedi, I'm creative. Access my creative self. How can I be creative in this moment? Let's see. You know something, dear? You're absolutely right. I should have been here on time. I'm sorry. Well, yeah, I agree with you. Well, nothing to say. If you agree with her, you can rise above the ego state. You don't have to respond. Why? Because you believe in yourself. I like me. So what if she's angry? So what if she's attacking me? I am not going to give up my free will to my wife to control my emotions, to escalate when I know who I am. I'm a good guy. I made a mistake, maybe. Okay. I'm sorry you feel upset, dear. You're right. Yeah, I should have been here. Okay, right now, how can I deal with this? Or when I walked in the door once, and my kids, little kids at that time, were standing over the stove. My wife was making spaghetti. And they're putting their hands in the spaghetti bowl, the spaghetti pot. It's boiling on the stove. And she was going nuts. Just, you're on, or else you're gonna make the spaghetti. So I was gonna say, my natural reaction was gonna be, you kids, get away from that stove. It's too hot, you're gonna get hurt. I said to myself, is that who I want to be? Is that be you? Is that believing in myself? Is that who I am? I'm an angry, screaming, irate father. Is that who I am? 1 second, who am I? I'm creative. 1 second. So I took a towel, a dish towel, put over my hand like this, went to the fridge, took out a bottle of wine and said, oh, hello, table for two then, right this way. Kids looked at me like, what? Yes, right this way then. We have tonight's special. Come on down, come away from the stove, right. Now let's sit down over here by the Fisher-Price table, right. Now tonight's special is sea bass with a pumpkin sauce. Of course, we have the regular specials, which is beef bourguignon, filet mignon, and the salmon. And they were looking, they started to laugh. I started to laugh. So I was creative. Instead of being the natural, automatic ego self, knee-jerk reaction, screaming and yelling, I accessed my real self. But it took thinking. It took going to my soul state. It took a proactive moment of going to really who I am. And for this, it requires two things. One is slow down. You did not have to react in the moment. How? Breathe. Bring oxygen to the brain. Then say, okay, what have I got? I got my strengths. I'm creative. Let me feel it. How do I feel it? Go to Ein Gedi. You can go to the beach, water. Your best midah, perhaps, is compassion, giving, chesed. Go to the beach, 1 second. Water, I'm giving. And when my wife is upset, instead of being hurt by my ego, I can go, I'm really sorry, dear. Go down to level 1 speech. You're right. I'm sorry. I should have been here. We can talk about it afterwards, but right now I see that you're stressed. Can I help with something? Let's work this through. So if I act my compassionate self, I defuse the situation by being me. It all depends on me, on you and I being in our true self. The third dimension is something called the circle of control. Tonight's topic is the circle of control, which is there are things outside my control and things inside my control. So here's the example. The 3 dimensions of self are cognitive, seichel, the wheel of strengths. Emotional, my heart, my feelings, that's my soul state. Those 2 are aligned now. But now I have to act behaviorally in that alignment by executing the deal. You know, it hurts me terribly when Hollywood Brown, number 15 for the Ravens, or Willie Snead, number 83, and they catch the ball in open field, right? And they're looking upfield after the catch, where they're going to go. But they take their eye off the ball. And they're running before. They take the eye off the ball, drop the ball, and they're running without the ball. The only reason why they don't make the catch in open field is because they take their eye off the ball. They don't execute. And that's what John Harbaugh says is they got to execute. They got to close the deal. You know, like the Ravens in the third quarter of every game, they take the foot off the pedal. Brady doesn't do that. Roethlisberger doesn't do that. They finished the game, right? They're ahead by 2 touchdowns. They ended up winning by 5 touchdowns. Not the Ravens. No. The Ravens, they're up by 2 touchdowns. They go, well, we can coast now. Let's just run the ball. Yeah, let's just, run out the clock. Let's punt. Yeah. They take that foot off the game, foot off the pedal. They don't execute. They don't close the deal. We have to close the deal. So I know it, I feel it, but now you got to do it. Now you got to catch the ball before you start running. That's called the behavioral dimension of self. Right? So how do you do that? So this is called the circle of control. So if you want to follow along with me, we have something in our lives called life is overwhelming. Draw a circle on your page and make this personal. Right? Draw a circle on your page and call this the circle of control. Outside your circle, you have certain things which are outside your control. So you draw a large circle on a page, label it circle of control, and write down what things are outside your purview, outside your locus of control. Well, declaring war on Iran is outside my control. Declaring war on Hamas and Hezbollah is outside my control. I have no power over that. Terrorism, I have no control. Relationships, I have no control over what my boss is going to say. I have no control over what my wife is going to say. I have no control over the weather. And I have no control over other people's feelings, words, actions, or reactions. So when my wife says, you're late, you're a mess up, you blew it, you're inconsiderate, I have no control over her. As much as I have no control over the weather, I have no control over her actions, nor do I have control over my children and their actions and their words and their grades and their behavior. No control. As much as I have no control over Congress declaring war against Iran, I have no control over relationships. And the key word is control. What do we worry about? What are we anxious about? I'm worried about the weather tomorrow, the snowstorm. I'm worried about what my boss is going to say. I'm worried about my livelihood. I'm worried about other people's actions, words, what my wife is going to say, what my kids are going to say. I'm going to have a good day today. I'm worried about everything which is outside my control. And my mind is focused on all these things which worry me, cause me anxiety, because they are all things which could happen, but they're outside my control. The second dimension of these things is, what tense do they take place in? The past, the present, or the future? What the weather is tomorrow, and what my wife is going to say tomorrow or today when I get home in an hour from now, is not in the past, it's not in the present, it's in the future. I have no control over the future. So when I worry about things outside my control and I write them down and I become aware that everything I'm worried about behaviorally of what's going to happen in my life is outside my control and it's in the future tense. Who's in charge of that which happens in the future? It isn't me. Only God is in control of what's happening tomorrow or later on in today or in 10 minutes from now. And I can't control these things. But I get nervous and worried and anxious and fearful about all these things, about terrorism and other people's actions and words and the weather and my future health and COVID and what's going to happen. When I'm focusing outside the circle. So now, let's go inside the circle. What goes inside my circle of control? What can I control? I can control my feelings, my words, my actions, and my reactions. This is the only thing I can control. So therefore, I write down that I have to get in control of myself. How? This circle of control is superimposed by this circle. This circle and this circle and this circle of my soul state are all the same thing. My circle, I can control my reaction to my wife because when I go to my soul state, my En-Gedi self, my Niagara Falls self, my mountain self, my beach self, and I realize I have a feeling that I can access my true self, and I have the intellectual skills, social skills, personality, growth, family, and spirituality. This circle is the same as this circle. I can control my feelings, actions, reactions because I have the ability to do it through my intellect, and I have the ability to do it through my soul state. Therefore, what I'm suggesting, a chiddush over here, is that these three dimensions of self, which are cognitive, emotional, and behavioral, alignment, are all the same thing. It's one integrated system. My mind, my heart, actions all amount to this. If I know me on all levels, da'as, I know, I have chibur. Da'as means chibur. When Adam knew Chava, vayeda Avram as Chava Ishtoi, he knew her on all levels. He was mechaber. He joined with her. Da'as, says Rav Wolbe, means chibur, connection, joining. If I know myself intellectually, my real of strengths, I know what my soul state is about, and I know how to act because I can control my own reactions, it's all the same thing. The same common denominator of all these three things is me. Me. When I'm in control of me, then self-mastery, I'm a Baal Habayis, Baal Habos, Baal. I'm a master of myself, master of my mind, master of my emotions, master of my actions. Then I can respond to an irate wife in a way which is not going to escalate, but in my true self. I cannot be allowed or allow myself to be thrown off course and not respond from my best self. So it's my responsibility to be aligned. It's my responsibility as a person to myself and to Hashem to access my seichel, my emotional self, and my action self. And all three make me into believing in myself, being myself. That's being in the zone. That's being aligned. Now, I'll tell you how I did it this week. It applied to me this week. Sunday afternoon, no Ravens game. I was good. I worked late Saturday night, working on a new sefer. I'm working on a Perush on the Siddur from my Rebbe Rav Moshe Shapiro Zatzal. I'm running a Perush on the Siddur. It'll be published soon, God willing. And I would stay up to 2 o'clock in the morning. I had clients on Sunday morning. I had the Sunday morning growing wife Chabura. At 3 o'clock, I was losing it. I wanted to fall asleep. I wanted to sleep for an hour. What happened? 3 of my grandchildren, my beautiful grandchildren, showed up. Their mother had to go shopping with one of the other children. She dropped off the 3 kids and said, "Can you watch the kids?" My wife said, "Of course, sure." Great. What did my wife do? She said, "Okay, Yisrael, can you watch the kids? Because I'm going to clean your office. This office I'm in right now," she decided that when the kids are dropped off at 3 o'clock and I want to go to sleep, she is going to clean my office. She disappears. I'm left with 3 kids, exhausted, want to fall asleep. And my natural reaction was going to be, she's in the office cleaning up, moving couches, cleaning up stuff. You'll never guess what I found under the couch. Now, I need help with 3 kids. My daughter is on a Zoom class with Ma'alot, and she can't help with the kids. Me and 3, are you kidding me? 3 kids? 2 twins and another, and a 2-month-old. Are you kidding me? And you're cleaning up now? So I was going to lose it. I was going to say to my wife, I was going to come into the kitchen and say, "Julie, you got to get in here right now. This is the wrong time to be cleaning. Okay? I appreciate cleaning my office, but not now. You got to help me." And I said to myself, wait a second. I better practice what I preach. 1 second. I'm doing this Zoom class. I'm doing this Zoom support group. I'm teaching wives and single mothers and husbands, including myself as a husband, how to handle stuff. Let's see what you got, Roll. Right? So I said, 1 second. Do I want to be an irate, angry, screaming, losing it, lose my temper, raise my voice kind of guy? Is that who I am? 1 second. No, I'm going to go to Ein Gedi. My wife's what she was. She is what she is. She does what she does. Okay? Can't control her. Breathe. Who am I? I'm creative. Do I feel it? Go to Engedi. Now execute. Catch the ball. Run upfield after I catch the ball. Hey, kids, want to read a story? Sure. So I sat down with the 3 kids on the couch. I took out the book called Paddington Bear. Now, in England, there's a series called Paddington. Perhaps you've seen it?
I think so, yeah.
And it's a little bear from Peru who was found in a railway station called Paddington Station. And in the book, Mr. and Mrs. Brown offered to Paddington to come and live with their house, because how can you leave a bear at a railway station without any food? So I said, Mr. and Mrs. Brown said to the little bear, Paddington, would you like to come to our house and stay with us? We've got lots of marmalade for you, right? I said, children, can you speak with a British accent? I said, repeat after me. Paddington, would you like to stay with us in our house today? So the 2 5-year-old twins said, Paddington, would you like to stay at our house today? They said it so hysterically, we all burst out like hysterical laughing. Hysterical. So I said, Mr. Brown said to Paddington, would you like some tea? So I said, kids, say to Paddington, would you like some tea? They said, would you like some tea? Right? I said, now children, you have to stiffen your upper lip when you speak British. You have to say, hello, right now, would you like some tea? And then I said, when you drink some tea, you have to put your pinky finger out like this. You go, hello, hello. So she went, hello. We cracked up. And I was actually laughing at a joke that we participated in. Me and my 2 5-year-old grandchildren were laughing at ourselves at this funny joke that I created by being me. I was so happy with myself that I didn't lose it on my wife, because I had the opportunity to create a moment of bonding with my grandchildren that I can share with you and share with my other clients and friends, whatever, right? But it was such a beautiful moment. So I'm thinking like this. When these things happen, which don't go our way, and we preemptively lose it because I wanted to go this way, if I react in the moment angrily, losing it, temper, my knee-jerk reaction, my instinctive, impulse-driven, ego-driven response, I am absenting God from the situation. Because I'm in a present moment of hashgacha that Hashem says, no, I don't want your wife to be there. I'm directing you to be in the house with the children that you are supposed to do it, not your wife. The hashgacha, the divine providence, is that I don't want your wife. Your wife chooses to be over here, cleaning up your office, and you want to get angry at her. You are denying the hashgacha. You are denying divine providence. You are preempting it. You're saying, I'm in charge here. Who's speaking then? My knee-jerk reaction to be angry at my wife comes from my ego. I'm in charge here. I want you to be here. I got to go to sleep. You should be in here. But if I can realize that all my anger, all my temper, all my losing it, all my depression comes from my ego, that I get hurt, upset, that things are not going my way, and I trust God that God is redirecting me somewhere else. Just be patient. Hang in there a little longer. See what develops. How? Seichel, I'm creative. I can feel it. Execute. Deliver the goods. Mind, heart, actions. Be myself. God doesn't want me to be with my wife doing that. He wants me to do it because I can grow from it. So therefore, not only is this alignment a methodology of being master of myself, but it's bringing God into the equation. That's called being an Eved Hashem. You're not only an Eved Hashem when you're davening Shachris, or Mincha or Mariv, or in Shul on Shabbos, or Yom Kippur, or Rosh Hashanah, or Sukkot, or lighting Hanukkah candles. You're an Eved Hashem on a Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock when your wife says, I'm cleaning the office. If I can bring God into that moment by being me, me comes from him. Where does God come into play? My mind comes from God, my emotions come from God, and my actions come from God. The self comes from God. He created me. He gave me a dimension of self. What dimension of self did he give me? Creativity. What dimension of self did he give you? Write it down. What is your best attribute? What is your best, minus creativity, what's your best midah? Is it compassion? Name the 13 attributes. Hashem, Hashem, consistency. I know some of you, or friends of mine, are consistent people, persevering, don't give up, keep plugging away. That's Hashem, Hashem, consistent. Ani Hashem kodem achet, Ani Hashem achar achet. He doesn't change. Not before we sin, not after we sin. Therefore, God is consistent in his love for us. Are you consistent? Do you emulate God by being consistent and persevering? Kale, leadership, having a job, guiding other people, giving chizuk to people, ideas, leadership. That's kale. Rachum, are you the beach? Compassion. Chanun, empathy. Rachum means I take care of someone's physical needs. That's rachamim. Chanun chen means I'm taking care of someone's emotional needs. Some of you are people persons who help kids, help other people, because you have chen, you have empathy. That's your best midah, chen. Use it. Erech apayim, patience, laid back, relaxed, mellow. Peace, bro. Chilled. Now, I met one person like that. In my life, I met one person who was mellow and relaxed. It was Tuesday, March 15th, 1994, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I remember it very distinctly because it was the only person I ever met in my life who was chilled and relaxed. Everyone else I met or know is pretty intense. You know what I mean? It's pretty high strung, like a spring. But this one person I met was, wow, I better remember this date. March 14th, 1994, 4 o'clock, 2 afternoon. You're mellow, man. How did you do that? Now that guy emulates God's erech apayim. God is patient. He's mellow, relaxed. We sin, and he doesn't mind. He says, okay, guys. Hey, man, I'm chill. So when we act with patience, we're bringing God's attribute of patience into the world. Erech apayim. Rav chesed, giving, kindness. Always thinking, I'm going to, my wife's sick. I'm going to make her some soup. I'll bring her breakfast in bed. I'll visit my friend in hospital. I'll call him up and say, I'm sorry you're sick. Shiva visit. Rav chesed. MS, honesty, integrity, doing the right thing. I'm not going to speak Lashon Hara. I'm not going to get involved in this Lashon Hara table discussion. I'm not doing it. MS. No tzar chesed, creativity. I'm creative with ideas, with art, with music, projects, outings for the children, putting craisins in the salad, tangerines on the plate. My sister-in-law, on the roast beef, she puts tangerines. I said, well, that's dessert. She said, no, it's a fusion type of cuisine where you put the tangerines on the plate with the dinner. And I said, wow, it's very colorful. She says, yeah, this is called fusion cooking. I said, that's pretty interesting. And who would have tangerines on the plate? But anyway, it was pretty interesting, right? That's no tzar chesed. No se avon v'fesha v'chata. Those three. No se avon v'fesha v'chata. That is forgiving. Otherwise known as letting go of resentment. That's, I think, step number 4 of the 12 steps. Letting go of resentment. That's one of the hardest things to do. When you're hurt, and you hold on to the resentment, it burns you up. The person who hurt you has long forgotten that thing. But we're holding on to it because we're angry, because we're hurt. So we hold on to it. Who are we hurting? Who are we hurting when we hold on to the resentment?
Ourselves.
Ourselves. My father said something to me 32 years ago. So you're not trying hard enough. And that's imprinted in my mind and in my soul. My father thinks I'm not trying hard enough. He's defining me. My father said I'm not hard enough. I hate him. He defined me as not trying hard enough. I'm not a good person. My father hates me. I hate myself. What am I doing? I'm giving away my power of free will to him. Does anyone here believe in free will? Free will doesn't only mean I can make a moral decision about whether to speak Lashon Hara or not, or to sin or not. Free will means I have free to be master over my own emotions. But if I hold on to the resentment, my father said to me 32 years ago that I'm not trying hard enough, and I hate him for it. And he's not in this world anymore, but I still remember, and I'm still in pain because of it. I'm giving him power over my emotions. What am I doing? I'm giving away my free will. All I have is free will. When I don't let go of resentment, I am giving away my free will to be master over my own emotions and giving it to somebody else. My wife says to me, "You're late. What's the matter with you? How irresponsible are you?" "Oh yeah, well, you didn't help me last week, and you didn't responsible when you stood at you went to the house and you went into your room and you vegged out all afternoon. So don't tell me about." So I don't let go of that resentment. I'm giving her power over myself. What we're learning here and we're working on together, and I'm working on it myself as well, is to master myself. 1 second. Who am I? Intellect, social skills, creative. I can experience it. I am it. I feel it. I am there. I'm in the program. And then I execute. I'm going to act that way. Kids, want to come read a book? Let's go. Then I am master over myself by not giving away my free will to my wife's actions. If she comes in the kitchen, in this room, and does the cleaning when she should be doing something else, and I get angry, I am giving her power over myself. Take back the power. How? Be yourself. This takes work, takes effort. So you need to practice. We need to practice being aware of my mental state, my conscious strength, my strengths, going to my soul state, and then executing all the time. I think that's what Shemona Esrei is. Hashem has given us an opportunity to go to the soul state, to the sense of self, every single day, 3 times a day. The Amidah. I'm standing. I'm not sitting like the Shema. I'm standing before Hashem. The act of prayer is the act of standing before Hashem and acknowledging. Da lifnei mi ata oimed. Know before whom you are standing means I know before whom I am standing, the one who gave me a self. The one who gave me, be you, believe in yourself. The one who gave me this. The one who gave me my intellect, my emotional self, and my actions. He gave me this. I'm standing before Hashem. And I go like this. And the Gemara says, in Brachos Daf Ches, it says, La'olam yechanes Adam shtei daltos v'yispalel. A person cannot come into shul immediately and begin to daven. He has to go in the door, 2 daltos, says Rashi, 2 doorways. What's 2 doorways? 4 amos and 4 amos. Person has to go in the doorway, 8 amos, and then begin to daven. Which means you cannot daven by the door. You can't daven by the door. And who davens by the door? Everybody davens by the door. You can't get into the shul because everyone's blocking the door. I'm not sure that's the reason why the Gemara says And the lach is you can't daven by the door. But what it means is I'm by the door and I want to get out of here quick. So it's a masui. Davening is a burden. Walk into shul, find your place, go inside, find your makom kavua, settle down, go in 8 amos, and daven. Says the Maharal, you know what it means? Go into 2 mental doorways. He says, Te shtei glaltos hamachshava. Door number 1 is leave the tirdos of the outside world. Leave the hustle and bustle of the deal you just did, or the guy who cut you off, or the parking ticket you just got, or the shopping list you have to do. Leave it behind, leave that doorway, and then enter into a second doorway, which is the doorway of mental calm. How do you do that? Go to your soul state. Breathe in. Hashem svasai tiftach u'fi yagit l'secha. Breathe in. Who am I? Who is it that's davening? Da liftei mi ata oimei. Know before whom you are standing. Who is me? Who am I? I am Wheel of Strengths. I'm my soul state. I go to Ein Gedi. You can go to the beach. You can go to the waterfall. You can go to Hawaii. Execute. Standing for Hashem. Now bring it down. Bring down the Midah Tova that God gave me. Baruch. He is the source of blessing. Baruch does not mean he is blessed. I'm blessing him. He is the Mekor HaBracha. He's a source of blessing. So I bring down from him me. What am I bringing down? Baruch. I'm bringing down myself. I'm bringing down my soul by acknowledging who I am. I come from him. Baruch. I am humbly bringing down my creativity. Ata. Thank you for giving me my creativity. Hashem, let me execute and serve you with my creativity today. Baruch, I bring it down. Ata, thank you. Hashem. That's why Shemona Esrei, the Amidah, can be a spiritual experience, not just a physical, get the words out, get this done so I go to work experience of be it. Don't think it, feel it, experience it. Be in connection with Hashem, which means be you. Where's my you coming from? From him. Bring it down. Conscious. Make davening into a spiritual experience, be an Eved Hashem. And in that way, I can practice going to my mind, heart, and actions. Wheel of Strengths, soul state, and actions 3 times a day. And when I go to sleep at night, I do it as well. Because my mind is racing at night. When you go to sleep, the reason why you can't sleep is only because your mind is racing. Why is your mind racing? What did I do today? How did I do that? Oh, this person said that. What's on tomorrow? Oh, how can I handle that? Oh, the mortgage has to be paid. Oh, the kids are doing that. Oh, it's tomorrow. The reason why you have insomnia, you can't sleep, is only because your mind is racing about what happened today and what's going to happen tomorrow. The way you go to sleep is switch out of this racing thoughts and go to here. Go to your beautiful place. Play videos in your mind of the beautiful places you've been to in your life. I go to Ein Gedi. I go to Rosh HaNikra, the grottos. Go to Masada, Snake Path. I go to the Shula Masada. I go to the Negev Desert, Ein Avdat, the mountains. I go to the Galil. I go to Tzfat. I go to the Meron Mountains. I go to the Mediterranean Sea, the Netanya, the beach, the ocean. I go to the Kosel. I play these videos in my mind. I feel emotionally safe, calm, happy in those places. I switch out of my mind, go to my emotional state, fall into the pillow, deeper into the pillow, I fall asleep. But you have to proactively leave the mind and go to the emotional state. That's why it's important to know that we have 3 dimensions: the mind, the heart, feelings, and the actions. Neshama, Ruach, Nefesh, 3 dimensions of self. There are 2 higher dimensions of self, Chaya and Yechida. which are not in this world. They're connected to the higher world. Chaya, my life force, and Yechida, my unique place in this world. But the three dimensions which are in this world are my Seichel, my Ruach, and my actions. There's Chaya and Yechida from the higher worlds. So when I practice them, I'm aware. This is what I'm talking about, being conscious. We're conscious of who we are and how great we are, how unbelievably fantastic you are, because you are a servant of Hashem. He placed you with a mission, and he breathed into you a dimension of himself. Man de nafach midilei nafach, the one who breathed from himself into you. What did he breathe into you? Your soul. What's your soul? Your seichel, your emotional self, your ruach, your actions. That's me. That's me, be you. God gave me that. 3 times a day I have an opportunity to daven and to connect and to breathe and to absorb the self which comes from Hashem. And that's why the Mishnah says, Im ein ani li mili. Hillel says, Perek Aleph, Mishnah Yud Dalet 14 in Pirkei Avos. Im ein ani li mili. Let's think about that. If I am not for myself, who will be for me? Why are there 2 statements to describe the self? Im ein ani li. Shouldn't it say Im ein ani, mi ani? If I am not I, then who will be I? Or Im ein li, mi li. If my me is not me, then who will be me? Why are there 2 words to describe the self? Ani and li. Im ein ani li. So William James, 1897, the father of modern psychology, says there are 2 dimensions of self, which he gets from this Mishnah. I don't think he read this Mishnah, but intuitively he understood it from this Mishnah. Ani means I. Li means me. I means my will, my soul, my volition, my free will, myself. Me is my mind, my brain, my emotions, my actions. If my will, is not in charge of my seichel, my emotions, and myself, who will be for me? Then my me will run amok. My me monster, my body, made up of my mind, heart, and actions. And the Derech Hashem says, your mind is part of your nefesh. Unbelievable. In Shar Aleph, the Derech Hashem says that the mind is not part of the seichel. The imagination and the reason is part of the nefesh. I'm trying to figure out what he means by that. But he says the mind is not part of the seichel. It's a higher thing. The seichel is something higher than just the intellect and the reason and your imagination. Imagination, reason, and thinking and figuring things out is part of the nefesh. And then you have the emotional self. So that's the part of the mind, the emotional self, and the actions. That's me. That's the self. That's the body. Ani is the part of me which resembles God. That's my best midah. That's my compassionate, creative, caring, resilient, truthful, honest, persevering, leadership self. That's from Hashem, that he breathed into each of us and said, now go give out me in the world. God blew into you a living spirit. He blew a dimension of himself into you and said, okay, Yosef, go give out me. I'm breathing into you creativity. Go give out my creativity. Chaim, I'm breathing into you compassion. Go give out my compassion. To whom? Wife, children, colleagues, clients, friends, neighbors, Kehillah. That's our job. When did we get that? Shmona Esrei, the Amida. Bring it down. So I'm suggesting this week to be able to practice this that we've learned so far in the first 3 sessions of our husband support group, The Better Husband, is be conscious of self, work on it, make it an avoda, make it a way of serving Hashem by getting to know yourself, that God gave you dimensions of himself, and they are valuable, they are good, they are talented, they are resources, they are strengths that God gave you, and you can be master of yourself. So that's the empowerment I'm giving you now, is to be able to use these three dimensions of self through Shemona Esrei. Do it anyway. So you might as well take 30 seconds before you begin Shemona Esrei, go to the soul state, bring it down, so that when my wife says to me, I'm cleaning the office now, you watch this, we kids, when you're exhausted. And I'll be able to go, 1 second, 1 second. Normally I would lose it. 1 second. I've been practicing this all week. 1 second. Creative, I'm there, I'm doing it. Guys, want to come with me? I'll read a book. But it takes practice to be able to do this. You can't just call upon it when you're in the irate moment. To practice it when you are in a good place. Every single day, make it an avoda. And I want to ask everybody to report back to us next week if you're able to practice this avoda and did it make a difference in your life? Did it make a difference? Was there a moment this week, if there's one moment this week where you would otherwise lose it and you didn't lose it, and you're able to go to your soul state? I think that's a major accomplishment. That makes us into a better husband. So let's unmute for a moment and ask you, were there any moments this week where you're able to use your wheel of strengths and your soul state this past week? Any times where you were able to be conscious of that this past week? Anybody?
Mute.
Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead.
There was one moment, and I can't say that I wouldn't have. I was asked, whatever. It wasn't a good day for my wife, and she was just not in a state to anything. And it was like 9:30 at night, and she just said, "I'm going to sleep." Kitchen was a wreck. Plates everywhere. No lunch. Nothing. So ordinarily, I would have done it anyway, but I think I would have had more resentment doing it and staying up and, getting everything ready. But I actually thought about the wheel of strength a little bit, and I connected what I was doing to my wheel of strength, which I don't know if it's exactly what you're talking about, but to me that was a win, because I struggle with connecting all this stuff we're talking about to every day. And I felt like that was, besides, I think about it also in Shemona Esrei, like what you told me, the Baruch Atah Hashem. Not exactly how you said it today, but those are the two examples I could think of.
That's amazing. I think that is an incredible win, an incredible accomplishment. You're able to be, and that's the system I'm explaining here. And my approach is consciousness, to be more than just awake and going through the motions, but being consciously present, show up. Who's showing up? The self, the you, the ani. The ani can master the body, heart, actions, self by saying, I'm in charge here, not you. Oh, my emotions say, oh, we got to respond to her, other she's going to get away with murder. 1 second. That's the me. 1 second. The I, hold on, conscious, breathe. Wheel of strengths, soul state. I'm not going to let that throw me off track and get angry at myself and have guilt afterwards and blow it and lose it and be a reactive, instinctive, impulsive person. No, 1 second. Let me go get myself. What you did today, this week, was you went to get yourself. You proactively went into the mindset of wheel of strengths and said, okay, what strengths I have? 1 second. Oh, I can clean up. I can do this for her. I'm a chesed person. I can look after her. So she's losing it. Okay, she wants to go to sleep. All right. I'm not going to give her a hard time about it. I'm going to be the chesed person. I'm going to step up to the plate. How? I'm going to consciously go into my mode of wheel of strengths. And I want you to add this week, this place, go to your beautiful place and say, not only do I know myself, I experience myself. I know, I feel it in my being that I can be compassionate and giving and caring and resilient and nurturing. I feel it. Then execute. Then clean up for her. Okay. And I bet you felt fantastic about yourself afterwards when you did that you overcame the natural instinctive reaction to say, well, no dinner, no lunch, a mess, I should clean up. I worked all day. What's the matter with you? That's my instinctive reaction. But we want to rise above it. I want to be a better husband. I want to be a better person. 1 second. So you did that. That's a huge win. Being aware of your strengths and then being able to apply it to a daily life situation. That's called being an Eved Hashem. That's called being a servant of God. On a Tuesday night at 9 o'clock, when your wife's going to sleep and she's too tired and all to mess around, that's when to be an Eved Hashem. That's a real servant of God. It's easy to be a servant of God on Yom Kippur wearing a talus and wearing a kittel and being close to God and not eating all day and being spiritual. That's an Eved Hashem. Of course, that's easy. But the whole purpose of Yom Kippur is to be on a Wednesday night when my wife is losing it or she's angry at me and I overcome my anger. I don't lose my temper and I say, of course I'll help you, dear. That's the application of Yom Kippur. On Yom Kippur, we're our highest self. We're our ideal self, our godly self. It's easy to get there. We don't eat, we don't drink, we hardly sleep. We're thinking about spirituality, about growing. That's the highest self. But the goal of Yom Kippur is to act like you did on Wednesday at 9 o'clock at night, when you would otherwise lose it and you didn't. That's called the application of Yom Kippur. That's called being an Eved Hashem. That's fantastic. Anyone else have an experience this past week? Were you able to overcome? Okay, those of you who have to go, please go ahead. Thanks for coming. Next week, 7 o'clock, 7:05 to 8:03. And then we'll resume the following week, barring any COVID games
So let me just make clear. It's after the Ravens lose to the Cowboys, right?
After
No,
the
sorry,
Ravens,
before.
after the Ravens decimate the Cowboys, we'll resume the following week with a Ravens 9-4 record.
Go to your soul state before you go to bed.
I got a dream, man. I got a dream, right? Okay, have a good night, gentlemen. Good night. See you next week.
Take care.
Bye.
Good night. Thank you.